Hey, Brenton here from Effortless Swimming. Welcome to Feedback Friday. In today's episode, we are looking at a triathlete, Richard. He's got his own YouTube channel at B Iron. Go and check him out there. In this video, Richard sent through, he's said that he's targeting a sub 60 Ironman swim and would like to get under the 28 to 29 minute mark for a half Ironman swim. Now, in these videos, he said he's swimming quicker than normal, around 116 to 120 pace, but he said that's not sustainable for him at those distances. So I've had a look through different angles, and I'm going to talk about a couple things that if I were him, this is what I would focus on and put my attention to. When we are looking at the stroke, we do like to look at body, head, and kick to start with, because that's the first thing we need to get right in order to reduce drag and hold ourselves correctly in the water. And you'll see Richard's doing a really good job here with his body position. Eyes are at about 45 degrees. I wouldn't want to go much further forwards there, but he's got head, hips, and heels at the surface, holding that really nicely. So with that, he doesn't really have to make any adjustments there. His kick's quite good too. He's got the heels breaking the surface, as you can see here, and the size of the kick is also quite good. Now, the first thing that I noticed is he's got quite a bit of crossover happening when he enters the water, and that is really impacting his catch. So as you might be aware of, we think about swimming on train tracks here. So imagine you've got these train tracks here. We need to enter in line with those and go directly forwards. You'll notice that when Richard enters with his right arm, comes across that center line quite a bit, similar on the left one there, coming across quite a bit. Now it's okay to get close to the center, but we don't want to cross it. And you can see here and in the front on view as well, that he's got quite a bit of cross on that one, and then even more so on that left side. Now, I've worked with thousands of different swimmers at our clinics where we do underwater filming and analysis with them. And what I see for those swimmers that are crossing over, I'd say 4 out of 5 of them have to feel like they are swimming incredibly wide. They have to actually feel like they are in this position here to get their hands in that position. So that of all the things in your stroke, that's typically the one that has to be exaggerated the most, how wide you feel you are in order to make that change. The good thing about a crossover though is that you can always just look forwards, check your hand position, make an adjustment if you're still crossing over, and then put your head back down. So I'd suggest looking forwards, using that visual feedback as a way of just knowing whether or not you've corrected that. So that would be the first thing. Now, the reason I would start with that is because for a lot of swimmers, if they are starting from across their head, it does make it harder to get into a good catch position, because it's not as easy to get a high elbow catch when you're starting from across the center, just because of the position it puts your shoulder in. Now you'll see with his catch on both sides, he's not going too badly with it, but of all the things, that's where I reckon he'll find the biggest improvement. So if we have a look at his right arm catch here, you'll see that the arm's quite straight. We like to get an angle of 100 to 120, which has the upper arm out there, higher and wider, and the fingers pointing down. That's a really good angle to be at. If the arm is straight, especially for a distance swimmer, then it just makes it hard to, you're pushing more downwards rather than backwards, and it's just not as strong of a position not as sustainable a position over long distances. Now here as well with the left side, not too far off where he should be, 139 degrees. Upper arm's in a pretty good spot. I'd probably want to see him out a little bit higher and wider, but that hand's got to come inside there where the elbow is. Because you'll see here that the palm of the hand's turned outwards. He's pressing outwards through that initial part of the stroke. And when your hand is wider than your elbow at this point, it's generally a bit weaker. You can't use your lats and back as well. We do find that this position here where the hand's a bit narrower is a bit stronger, as well as being better at pressing back through there. So we'd want to work towards that better catch position with both arms, but he's likely going to have to get on those train tracks first of all. Now, the last thing I'll just finish with is just adjusting the exit a little bit. You'll see on this right-hand side, have a look at this part. So right at this point, the palm of the hand's turned in towards the body. So from here all the way out the back, he's missing out on that last little bit of propulsion because the hand's just getting pulled out to the side there, rather than continuing to press back and exit just past the hip. If he can keep the palm of his hand facing backwards, he'll get this nice length and reach out there. It's going to help him roll into the catch a little bit better on that side, and that's also going to benefit him too. The other side, if we look at his right arm, he's doing pretty well with that. Let's just have a look at this exit. See there. So pressing back, let's go to a stroke where he's not turning. So pressing back pretty well through there. The palm faces back for longer. So that's pretty good. But obviously the right side, not so much. So for him, I would just be hyper-focused on train tracks first, spend a couple weeks just getting used to that, making that a habit, then get into a better catch position. Using whatever drills you choose. Maybe he goes through the 5-day catch challenge that is, we've had more than 10,000 swimmers go through that, and that's been really popular and can really help just dial in some of these key positions for the catch. And then I'd focus on the exit and just keeping that pressure on at the back of the stroke. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you'd like to get your own video analyzed, you can submit your video through Skillest. That's where I analyze people's strokes. And that way I can give you some specific things for your stroke that will help you swim faster and be more efficient. I'll put the link in the description below. Thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe link. We post videos every week to help you swim faster and more efficiently for your triathlons and open water swimming events.